The wind carried the smell of pine smoke and wet earth through the valley, a familiar scent that had followed Thrain all his life. He sat near the fire outside his hut, sharpening his axe with slow, steady strokes. Sparks leapt and died in the dirt. Inside, his son slept, wrapped in furs too large for his small frame, dreaming the careless dreams of a boy who believed the world was solid and safe. Thrain had once believed that too. The axe had belonged to his father. The hut he built with his own hands. The valley was harsh but honest. You worked, you hunted, you bled, and you lived. He had buried his wife 3 winters before, laid her beneath stone and soil, and sworn that no harm would come to the child she left behind. That oath shattered before midnight. The first blow came from behind. Iron rang against bone, and the world tilted sideways. Thrain fell hard, his axe skidding across the dirt beyond reach. He rolled, roaring, reaching for the knife at his belt, but a boot crushed his wrist. Another slammed into his ribs. He tasted blood and ash. 5 men stood around him. They wore mismatched armor, stolen pieces, dented helms, leather dark with old grime. Raiders, slavers, men who did not belong to any clan and answered to nothing but coin. Thrain surged upward with a bellow and drove his shoulder into one of them, sending the man sprawling into the fire. Flames caught, and the man screamed. Thrain seized a fallen spear and rammed it through another's thigh before a mace struck the side of his skull and dropped him to his knees. They did not kill him. They wanted him alive. One of them smashed his leg with a hammer, slow and deliberate. The sound was wet and final. Thrain screamed, a raw animal sound torn from his chest, but he did not beg. He would never beg. They dragged him toward the hut. "Make him watch," one said, laughing. They kicked in the door. Edrin woke with a sharp cry, heart pounding before his eyes were even open. Hands were on him, rough, unfamiliar, dragging him from the bedding. He struggled on instinct, thrashing like a cornered animal, heels scraping against the floor as panic flooded his chest. He was small compared to them, barely 13, all bone and fury, but he fought anyway. One of the men shoved him hard. Edrin stumbled and struck the wall, the breath driven from his lungs. His vision swam, his face burning where he'd been hit. He tasted blood and fear. "Still got fight in him," one man said with a low laugh. "That'll be beaten out soon enough." Another tightened his grip on Edrin's arm, added, "Strong for his age, won't be useless." Edrin glared up at them through tears he refused to let fall, shaking but unbroken, memorizing their faces even as the room spun. Thrain tried to crawl. His fingers dug furrows in the dirt. His vision swam. He could hear his son crying his name. "Father!" A blade pressed against Thrain's throat. "Move again," a voice whispered, "or we cut it." They bound Edrin's wrists. They bound his ankles. They gagged him when he screamed too loudly. Thrain howled, rage ripping through him like wildfire, but his body would not answer. His broken leg dragged useless behind him. They told him where they were taking the boy. Work camps, stone pits, iron mines, places where children died young and quietly. They set the hut ablaze. Thrain passed out in the smoke. He woke to silence. The fire had burned itself out, leaving only blackened beams and drifting ash. Flies crawled across his face. His leg was swollen and crooked, the pain so intense it made him retch. He lay there for 2 days. On the 3rd, he crawled. Neighbors found him half dead and carried him to shelter. He healed slowly, badly. The leg never set right, his jaw mended crooked. His dreams never returned. What remained was purpose. He learned the names of the men through whispers and traded favors. 5 raiders who moved boys south. Not a large operation, just enough to stay hidden. 2 years passed. The first man died on a riverbank begging for mercy Thrain did not remember how to give. The second screamed for his mother. By the time Thrain tracked the third, winter had come again. This man traveled with a caravan, wearing stolen authority like a cloak. Thrain waited until night, until snow muted sound. He dragged him from his bedroll and smashed his face into the ice. The man talked. He named routes, buyers, camps. He did not know which one had bought Edrin. Thrain split his skull anyway. The fourth man was harder, faster, smarter. He fled across borders, hiring blades and spreading lies. Thrain followed, killing those who stood between him and the truth. When he finally caught the man in a mountain pass, they fought until both were slick with blood and barely breathing. Pinned beneath Thrain's axe, the man laughed. "You're too late," he spat. "If the boy lived, he won't remember you." Thrain crushed his throat. That left one, and hope, thin as a blade's edge. Thrain followed rumors of a work camp near the salt flats, where men worked children until their bodies failed. The journey took weeks. His legs screamed with every step. His heart screamed louder. The camp was ringed with wood and cruelty. Thrain attacked at dawn. He killed guards in their beds. He split skulls, crushed windpipes, carved a path through men who chose coin over conscience. Blood soaked the sand until it turned dark and sticky beneath his boots. He tore open cages, called his son's name until his voice broke. "Edrin!" He found him in a low hut at the edge of the camp, alive. The relief almost brought him to his knees, but the boy was ruined. Edrin's body was thin, his ribs sharp beneath bruised skin. Old scars crossed his back, layered over newer wounds. His hands shook constantly. A blood-soaked bandage wrapped his head, stiff and foul-smelling. His eyes were open, empty. "Edrin," Thrain whispered, kneeling. No response. He touched to the cheek. No flinch. No recognition. He shook him gently, then harder. Terror clawed into his chest. "Son," he said, his voice breaking. "It's me." Nothing. The camp burned behind them. Thrain gathered his son into his arms and held him, rocking back and forth like a man praying to dead gods. He had found him, and still, he had lost him.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to smash that like button or go to our YouTube channel to hear the complete story at Storytellers Drive-Thru.